Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to today's JA Coordinator Summit. Thank you so much for being with us. We are going to go ahead and get started. I am the Senior Manager of Entrepreneurship Programs here at JA Dallas, and I'll be facilitating the event. Joining me in facilitating the event will be Jordan Singer, our Data and IT Manager, who's going to be assisting me in ensuring the tech and the other features of the webinar go smoothly. Please note that we will be recording the webinar today. And so we'll be able to send that out to all attendees afterwards. We are super excited for our agenda today. We are going to be hearing from our new president. Today, we're also going to be reflecting on our 2022-2023 impact, exploring how programs are funded, and we're even going to be sharing helpful resources for coordinators. And for the very first time ever, we'll be hearing from JA coordinators just like you on their best practices for successful JA programs and volunteer recruiting. Throughout the summit, we do encourage you to engage, so please feel free to type your thoughts and comments into the chat window, and please feel free to use that Q&A button to add any questions that you may have as we're going through the information in the summit. And we will try to be sure to address as many of your questions as we can during our 2 Q&A times today. So with the agenda reviewed, we're going to go ahead and begin. I'm going to turn it over to Keisha Bruno, our Vice President of Educational Impact. She is going to welcome you to the summit, and she's going to be giving you a glimpse into our impact for the 2022-2023 school year.
Keisha, you're muted.
Keisha, you're muted.
Okay, here we go. Let's try this again. So thank you everybody for joining us and for just being a part of the JA family. So as you know, Junior Achievement exists to inspire and prepare young people to succeed in a global economy. We want to thank you today for your partnership and your dedication to our students. Without you, we couldn't make the impact we do and empower students to achieve their boundless potential. We are so excited. We are so excited to just share with you a little bit of where we have been over the last school year. We served 141,000 students, and our volunteers logged over 387,000 instructional contact hours. The current estimated national value of each volunteer is $31.80 per volunteer hour. So that means that your volunteer work has contributed over $12 million to JA of Dallas. So thank you to all of our coordinators from schools or companies who support the work that we do. During today's gathering, we'll be reflecting on the previous school year, taking a deeper dive into JA programs, and sharing best practices for success. On behalf of the JA Dallas staff, we thank you so much for being here today. One of the things I'd like to share with you guys is just a little bit of insight into our 2022 school year impact. So one of the things that we always wonder is, how does JA Dallas truly impact students? Where is it that we make our difference in the work that we do? And so we are really fortunate enough to be able to do pre and post testing with our students so we can see where they are growing and what they are learning and the things that we do. So there's a few things that we know for sure. We know that JA prepares young people for lifelong financial health. And we know that because our data shows us that over 75% of students can identify earning and saving and spending as things that they learned while they were while they participated in JA. We know that 4 out of 5 students believe that saving money is a good plan for their future. And we also know that over 95% of our JA BizTown students understand the difference between credit and debit cards. We know that JA impacts students because we prepare them for the jobs of the future. 2 out of 3 of our students say that they've learned the education that's needed in order for them to reach the career that they want. We know that 3 out of 4 of our students say that they've been introduced to STEM careers while participating in JA. And finally, we know that JA cultivates an entrepreneurial mindset. After participating in JA, over 60% of our students say that they want to be an entrepreneur when they grow up. Over 70% say that they want to own their own business and that they've learned tips that they can do in order to make that happen. The secret sauce of JA is something that I love to talk about, and it's how does JA be able to impact students the way that we do and cause those outcomes that we see. And basically, it's really simple. We take an I can't, I'm not sure, I don't know how, I'm not able to, this is not for me, from the neighborhood where I come from, all of those attitudes that a lot of students have, we take that I can't attitude, we mix in the JA secret sauce of changing that attitude and then adding some knowledge. And we know that when we change the attitude and we add some knowledge, that equals an I can be, I can do. And in turn, that equals a behavior change that really helps students learn and see success and maps out their steps for their future. So let's talk a little bit about the programs that we do at JA Dallas. And this is the how. We've talked a little bit about the why, but how do we impact students and how do we make that happen? So I am going to turn it over to the education team. I believe Kathy's up first to share a little bit about her programs and what she does at JA.
Hello, everybody. Can you hear me? Because I'm bad about talking while I'm muted. I am Kathy Parks. I am the College and Career Readiness Manager. We're going to be talking about some of the program that we facilitate to help students understand what careers are out there. Next slide, please. So we do 3 different things. We have elementary career days. So we bring in speakers to talk to the students, and it can be anywhere from 1 to usually 3 hours. We have middle school and high school career special events. These are usually about 1 hour, and it's focused around something that the school is wanting to, a thought process the school is wanting to achieve. Then we have career speaker special videos where volunteers in any industry can choose to record a video, upload it to us, and we send that out to the educators to show the students. Some of the videos that we are doing this year, we did a 9/11 video. We did a Veterans Day video that went out on the 1st. And in March, we'll be doing Women's History Month. Next, please. There we go. So what does a career speaker event look like? And it pretty much looks a lot about the same, whether you're elementary, middle school, or high school. So volunteers, you're going to talk about your career education journey. So you are talking about you. You are going to talk about the successes you've had through the years when you are in college, starting work, and you're also going to talk about challenges because let's be real, everyone has challenges. Then you want to keep it interactive with students. So you can use, if you work with different type of tools, you can keep it interactive by asking the students questions. You can use PowerPoints. Sometimes you can even use candy to keep the students engaged. They love candy. And you always want to leave that little bit nugget of wisdom with the students because you never know what sentence, what one word will stay with the students. Okay, next slide. So how does a career day look? So it just depends on the school. Each school can have a different one. So you can have it by slots. So it could be from like 9 to 9:30, 9:30 to 10, and by grade levels. You can have it sessions to where we have 4 sessions and students will rotate to the volunteers, or even volunteers can rotate into different classrooms using sessions. You can also have for one speaker for one class. You can even have multiple speakers for multiple classes. So we might have in high school 4 teachers who want a career day, and we'll find 4 volunteers all at the same time. So each event just looks a little bit different. It is set up a little bit different. Next slide. So what do we offer you schools? So we help to recruit volunteers. We provide you with a parent flyer in English and Spanish so that you can bring parents on board, because parents like to be involved. We can create student leadership certificates. So if you have students that are helping to guide volunteers a day of event, man, you want to recognize those students, and we can do those certificates for you. We take pictures of the day, and we are there that day to welcome everybody, to let them know that they are very much appreciated for being there. Okay. So these are some pictures of volunteers that volunteered this past year at multiple different schools. You just see all the joy on their face because they're having lots of fun. So what do volunteers get out of this? Well, they get to inspire the next generation, and that is so important. This is an opportunity for them to impact their community. And that's always a good thing when we can go into our community and make a difference. We will communicate to you as the event draws closer, all the information that you need about the event. We will send you the forms that you need to fill out, all the information, and we are here to answer all your questions as you need it. Then the day of the event. So either myself or another staff member, we're going to be on site. We're going to show up, we're going to shake your hand, and we're going to say thank you for coming today. The counselor is going to say thank you for coming today. Principal may stand up and say thank you for coming today, because it is very much appreciated. And then we will take pictures, videos, we post on social media. We want people to know what you're doing and that you are impacting this school this day. Next slide. And then after the event, we are going to send you, the volunteers, you, the educators, a thank you email with a link to all the pictures, because we appreciate that, one, you're allowing us to come into your school and bring the volunteers. And then we thank the volunteers because we can't do this without you. So you will get that information at the end. Just know during these programs that we do, the career speaker, the middle school, high school, and even the videos, we are here to answer questions, to guide you, and to help you be so successful in this event. Thank you so much for coming today, and welcome to this Coordinator Summit.
Fantastic. And so now I'm going to talk to you about another program that many of you on the call may be familiar with. And this is our JA Finance Park. Next slide, please. JA Finance Park is really fun because it's one of our most community-based programs, in that if you have been around the JA world for a long time, you may know that for JA Finance Park, you used to come to us. We had a facility and students would bus to us, and volunteers would come to that facility to volunteer at the park. Well, now our JA Finance Park is a little bit different. It's a traveling show, in that we have redesigned it in order to meet the needs of our schools, in that we are able to bring JA Finance Park into the school, into the community, so that the students do not have to incur any cost to come to JA Finance Park. So what happens? What is JA Finance Park? Students play the game of life to gain valuable skills to be financially independent. This is targeted towards students that are in 7th to 12th grade. And what happens is that students navigate through a scenario where they create a balanced budget as it relates to their career, their income, their credit score, debt, family, savings, the whole thing. And the Finance Park simulation is set up into 2 levels. There's your entry level, which we primarily do at the middle school level, and then advanced level. The difference is the entry level program deals primarily with young adulthood. It's kind of like that just after college. And then advanced is, it takes you through 4 different life stages. So it goes from young adulthood all the way through retirement. Next slide, please. So a day at JA Finance Park. While students are at JA Finance Park, they automatically get a persona when they walk in, and it's very random. They can be 37 years old and they are a teacher and they have 2 kids and they have an income of $54,000. And the entire job for them while they are at JA Finance Park is they have to create a balanced budget, they have to make wise shopping choices, they have to pay down their debt, they have to establish savings goals for themselves, and then they get to reflect upon their own choices and their career path. So this is what students see. When we come in and we're on site for JA Finance Park, each student receives a tablet that they use. And so the students actually navigate through the virtual park while they are sitting within the physical JA Finance Park that we put together. And what they see is a variety of expense categories. So you'll see there is self-care and gas and transportation and electricity and furniture, and they have to create budgets for each one of these items based upon their income and based upon what they want. A good example is in the grocery one, they have to decide if they want to buy organic groceries or generic groceries. And then after they complete all of their expense categories, they have to make a decision if they need to make some changes in what they've budgeted. So it really takes them through real life scenarios of things that we spend money on as adults and all of their expenses. When volunteering at JA Finance Park, the volunteers really lead students through the budget simulation. So as students are going through each expense category, and let's say, for example, they are in transportation and they're choosing if they want to buy a sports car or a sedan, the volunteer may say something along the lines of, keep in mind, you still have to pay for your car insurance. Which students have no idea about that, and it's fun to watch their hearts break when they realize the cost of that. So the volunteers are leading students through the budget simulation, and volunteers are also sharing their own experience with students. When it gets to credit scores and it gets to credit cards, it's a great time for, my story I always tell students is that I'm still paying for pizza I bought on my credit card when I was in college. So, volunteers also get to discuss careers. A lot of times students will get a career and they'll see a salary and they'll be super excited about it until they start paying bills, and then they realize $50,000 isn't going as far as they thought it would. And in addition, they encourage students to explore their future possibilities. They share from within themselves about, if a student is interested in IT, they may say, well, computer programming is not a booming field, but web design is, or whatever. So they get to share a bit from their own experiences. So I'm also going to talk to you about another program, which is JA BizTown. Again, many of you guys may be familiar with JA BizTown as well. Our JA BizTown facility is in Garland ISD. It's in the Gilbert Reed Career and Technical Center. And this is one of our programs where students come to us. It's a combination of in-class learning followed by a day-long simulation at a simulated town. This is targeted toward 4th through 6th grade students. And when students are at JA BizTown, they learn all about the roles they play as citizens and workers and consumers. They learn about the importance of citizens' rights and responsibilities in a community. They really get the basics of a free enterprise system. And then they have to play around with money, business money management skills and personal money management skills. And then they learn really basic business practices and responsibilities. A day at JA BizTown starts with something really fun. Students are sworn in as citizens. A mayor is elected when they're sworn in, and each one of our storefronts, which are businesses where the students work, all of the students get jobs. And so someone is a CEO, someone is a CFO, someone is a marketing person, and the first thing that they have to do is take out a business loan so that they can open their business. And the entire goal of the day is to make enough money through their marketing plan and their selling strategy to pay back their business loan and turn a profit. So they create a marketing plan. Personally, they open a savings account we have a Wells Fargo. You'll see some photos there. And then they focus on business to business and business to consumer commerce. They decide what prices their products are going to be. They decide what ads they want to run and our radio station. So they really put together a plan for the business. On the personal level, they receive 2 paychecks with tax deductions, and they have a fit when they see that they are losing taxes. It's so much fun. And they also have to pay bills and their bank loan, and they have to pay it with interest. They get to shop within the other stores that are there. And then we have the final component where they get to vote in City Hall, which they really love that too. It's fun to watch their campaigns when they're running for mayor. As a JA BizTown volunteer, the primary role is serving as guides to help students navigate in the simulated community. The students are trying to figure out how to run a business. And so the volunteers get to help them come up with a marketing plan, explain to them why BOGO may not work, or why charging $10 for an item won't work when the paychecks are $5 each, right? And the biggest part is they get to facilitate the experiential learning. The students are really learning by doing here. And so the volunteers really are instrumental in making sure that happens. They offer young people the benefit of real world experiences. Sometimes the volunteers get competitive and they want their storefront to beat another storefront where one of their coworkers are, and that's a lot of fun as well. But they are sharing their own experiences from the work that they do. And then finally, they position to provide themselves as a professional role model for students. The students are always very excited to learn about what do you do at work, and sometimes they think that you're skipping work to be there with them, and that too, they enjoy that. So I'm going to turn it over to Caroline Cannon to talk about her programs.
Well, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you all so much for joining us today. I'm going to talk about JA in a Day and High School Heroes because it's basically some of the same curriculum, just taught by a different group of volunteers. Next slide, please. So with JA in a Day, and those are the programs that I manage, volunteers go into a classroom and teach the JA curriculum. They can do this in K through 5th grade in an elementary school, or in a middle school, which is usually sometimes 6th through 8th grade. You can see here on the screen where we have the different curriculums that we provide in the classroom. So you can see JA Ourselves is for kindergarten, JA Our Families is for 1st grade, and JA Our Community is for 2nd grade. Next slide, please. And then 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade, you can see JA Our City is 3rd grade, JA Our Region is 4th grade, and JA Our Nation is 5th grade. In each one of those curriculums, you can see how each one just continues to build one upon the other. Within the curriculum, there are 5 lessons. So the volunteers, and we can't do this without you, the volunteers, they are prepared. I go to your company, or we can do a virtual training to get you ready to go into the classroom. The key to success to be able to teach these programs is to be prepared. So my goal is to make sure all volunteers are ready to go into the classroom and are comfortable teaching the lessons. On this particular day, a company or individuals can participate. It's usually a company will take over an entire school, and they will impact the full day. That's why we call it JA in a day. The lessons are really designed for a volunteer to go once a week over a period of weeks, but corporate and schools really like that JA in a day model. Hence is why we come up with the name JA in a day. We are predominantly in Dallas and in Irving schools implementing the J in a day model, and also in Irving, in High School Heroes, we are in charter schools, PTAs, or either in Plano, mostly in Plano. Also, you can recruit your volunteers to participate in this program, knowing that I will come to your company and make sure that they are ready to go into the classroom. So how do we do that? Within the 5 lessons, it's all activity-based. So we have created the curriculum, and the volunteers will just do exactly what the curriculum is telling them to do. As a matter of fact, it's so very user-friendly. It tells them what to do word for word. For example, introduce yourself to your class. Tell them what you do, who you are, and even give some background about yourself. But when I mentioned about it being activity-based, they're playing games, there's lots of stickers, and even if you choose, you can bring other items as incentives to get the students prepared to participate. In the training, volunteers will learn about different strategies to get the students engaged. What is it that they can do to have the students answer questions, some tips and suggestions on getting them to raise their hand. Sometimes volunteers, I heard Kathy mention this earlier, to get the students to participate, the incentives. Candy usually works, not so popular with the teachers, but candy or prepackaged items are usually recommended. So what you can do as a volunteer, certainly make sure that you are prepared, and also as you read through the curriculum in each lesson, remember it tells you what to do and what to say. Let me highlight a little bit on High School Heroes. Same material, same lessons, except we have partnered a high school with a elementary school. Usually it is the feeder school to go in and teach those lessons at those particular schools. So the teacher will prepare the students in advance, usually during the classroom time through either their CTE, their ABIT classes, and so on. And maybe 3-4 times during the class time, get them ready to go into the class so that when they go to the partner school, they are very comfortable teaching the lessons. It's not just one student. They'll usually have 2, 3, I've even seen it where there's 4 students per class, and each one of them takes ownership of a lesson. So I'm not sure where we are on time, but that is an overview of K through 5th grade curriculum in the classroom with J in a Day and High School Heroes. Please reach out to me if you have not, if you're on this call and you have not participated in any of these programs, and I'll be happy to assist you. Thank you.
All right, so next up, we'll be taking a closer look at the emerging entrepreneurs programs that we have. Next slide, please. All right, so kind of like Caroline was mentioning that the K through 5th grade programs that we have build on one another, that's really all part of our pathways approach here at Junior Achievement. So what that means is that we really want students to experience a trajectory of learning experiences within each of our pathways. So I'm over our entrepreneurship pathway. So as you can see, I've got up on the screen several different programs that students can be engaged in from the time they're in elementary school all the way through high school. So that way they can really hone their entrepreneurial mindset. Next slide, please. The first program that I'd love to share with you is called JA Launch Lesson. This is a point of entry experience. It is matching an entrepreneur in a local community with a classroom, and then the entrepreneur is able to share with students how they started their own business and also answer students' questions. We also conduct this launch lesson in an entrepreneur panel. This is where we take a larger group of students as pictured on the screen, and we have several different entrepreneurs come and do a guided panel. And we also incorporated a brainstorming activity where students create their own app idea. This is a really neat program because it's a quick point of entry experience, meaning that it is brief. So we're looking at either one individual classroom session or one session with many students all at once in order for students to really kind of just get their JA experience started. And this can be utilized for all grade levels. Next slide, please. The next program that I'd like to share with you is called JA It's My Business. This is our middle school program, and it's all about teaching students how to put together a compelling business pitch. And so during every session, the students are actually working on a component of this pitch. So they might be going over prototyping one day or even marketing. We actually had a group of younger students, 4th graders, participate in this program last school year. And one of the groups came up with a really neat idea called Trash Get Ball. They really wanted to promote picking up litter in their school. So they designed a trash can that had a basketball hoop, and they called it Trash Get Ball. Super cute idea. This program is a longer program, so it does run for 6 weeks. And so what that means is that a volunteer would be delivering the curriculum in a classroom for 6 weeks. And then each time they visit, they'll be visiting for 45 minutes. Next slide, please. Next up, we have JA Company Program Pop-Up. This program can actually be used in both middle and high school. This program allows students to actually run a pop-up business. Students will divide up into 2 departments, marketing and finance, and in each session of this program, they will actually be working on a component of running the pop-up business. So it could be market research, it could be figuring out product placement and pricing, or what have you. This program is also volunteer-led, where volunteers are delivering 1 lesson a week for 45 minutes for a total of 7 weeks. There is an additional week that is run during the program, which allows the students to actually run their pop-up business. We give them some parameters around which to create their business, and any profits that they raise go to an organization of the student's choice. Next slide, please. And then finally, for our emerging entrepreneurs programs, we have the JA Company program. This is actually Junior Achievement USA's flagship program, the program that started it all back in 1919. This program allows high school students to run their very own startup company. So this is a real life company. Students receive a bank account, they come up with their business idea, they will also raise their own capital, and then they'll also order product. So, they'll also order raw material so they can actually produce and create their very own product or service. During this program, it is a teacher-led program, which means teachers are delivering the curriculum as a part of it. However, by meeting 6, the students have launched the business, and they're actually running the rest of those meetings by themselves to operate their business. In terms of volunteer engagement with this particular program, volunteers serve as business coaches. So they'll visit 1 time a week to really advise students on company operations. This is also a great way to get subject matter experts involved. So for example, students divide up into 5 different company departments, everything from leadership to marketing to supply chain. So if we have volunteers that are experts in those backgrounds, they can come and visit just for a singular visit to share their expertise with students. The neat thing about this program is that there is competitions that are a part of it. So we have local competitions as well as there is a national level competition that students can apply for as a part of it. Next slide, please. All right, and so lastly, we have the JA Bold Girl Summit. This is actually a specialty program that began focused on primarily entrepreneurship, but it has since evolved into a leadership program for teen girls that really covers all 3 of our pathways. And so the great thing about this program is that we take teen girls. Next year's program actually is going to be hosted at Southwest Airlines, so we are super excited about that. We have 2 table mentors at each table. So these are women professionals in all different kinds of industries. They spend the day with their students, and then the students actually have breakout sessions that they attend that they select. And it's really all about helping them to feel empowered and helping them to feel like they can accomplish their dreams. Next slide, please. All right, so now that we have taken you through a complete deep dive into all of the programs that we run here at JA Dallas, I want to talk briefly about our school and volunteer requirements. So this is the information that we need, or the things that we need in order to make sure that the programs can run successfully. All right, so in terms of school, what we need from each campus that is participating in a junior achievement program, we certainly need the date or timeline of the program. Of course, sometimes this depends on when, if there is a company partnership, when they're available, or when a volunteer partner is available. So of course, you've got the chicken or the egg, which comes first, but essentially we have the date or timeline of the program. And then from there, it's important that we make sure that we've got all of the class information. So any participating teachers, we will need their name, their email, their grade, also the number of students per class, so we can make sure that we have plenty of materials for the students participating. In addition, if students are going to be logging into a program, so for example, perhaps Finance Park, we would need to make sure that we have student rosters for that as well. Also, scheduling is very important. Whenever we have a day-long event, we have to be sure that we have a master schedule. For example, for JA in a day, because those students still attend their recess times and they're on also their specials classes for the day. In addition to that, if there is a special schedule for the day, or the schedule is going to be modified to do a day-long JA program, that will be important for us to know as well. And then for any weekly classes, especially for emerging entrepreneurs, for example, the class time where the program is taking place is going to be very important. And then finally, we do ask our educators to complete a verification form at the end of every program, just verifying that the program did take place and that the students completed it. And then on the volunteer side, in order for volunteers to be able to volunteer, we definitely ask for volunteers to fill out our JA volunteer form. So just basic information that we plug into our database, in addition to our conduct standards form. We also ask for volunteers to fill out a background check form. This is always going to be specific to the district that the volunteer is volunteering with. However, this is really important because it can take anywhere from 24 to 48 hours, sometimes maybe even a little bit longer for those background checks to be approved. And so before a volunteer can go to campus, go to BizTown, participate in Finance Park or any JA program, it's important that those volunteer background check forms are completed and approved prior to the program. And then lastly, volunteers do participate in an orientation, and that orientation is different just depending on the program that the volunteer is going to be a part of. And then finally, we do ask for volunteers to prepare. That can look different. If you're doing career speaker series, usually you already know about your job, so you can show up and then see Kathy there and then get right into the day. Whereas with JA in a day or emerging entrepreneurs, there is some prep that is involved. So just as Caroline said, being successful is all about preparation and just making sure that volunteers have prepared ahead of time. And then finally, for both schools and volunteers, occasionally throughout the school year, we do send out surveys. We are always looking for feedback from our educators and our volunteers, just to see what we can do to improve our programming. So if you do see those, please take a look at them and please be sure to fill them out. All right. One of the things I also want to share with you is that I'm super pleased that we are able to offer a majority of our programs to schools at no cost because of our generous partnerships and supporters. So next up, our development manager, Lauren Vaughn, is going to be shining some light on how JA programs are funded.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you so much for being here today. If we can go ahead and go to the next slide. My name is Lauren Vaughn, and I am one of the development managers here at JA Dallas. And what that means is that I work with many of our corporate partnership folks to work on building the relationship, funding the programs, and also even assisting my education teammates in helping to find volunteers for the programs. So a little bit about the different sponsorships and investment opportunities that we have here at JA Dallas. Our capstone programs, which you heard about already, which is Finance Park and BizTown. And through those, we have some branded sponsorship opportunities so that you've got some visibility to the students, the educators, and the volunteers that come through those programs. In addition to that, we have partnership sponsorships where it is powered by or technology provided by, so we can offer those as well if you don't want to do a kiosk or a storefront. We also offer whole school sponsorships. You can sponsor an entire school, you can sponsor an entire class. We offer day of sponsorship, so you can sponsor an event for that day. Our Finance Park for the day, BizTown for the day, those are opportunities as well. Some folks do want to focus on one of our pathways. So there we do offer a financial literacy sponsorship or emerging entrepreneurs, work and career readiness. So whatever pillar is of interest, if there is a specific interest, then we can tailor those sponsorship and partnership opportunities towards that pathway as well. And last, we have our Hall of Fame, which is our annual fundraiser event. It's a gala that's usually held February to March each year. And through that, you are able to support our work and our students through auction donations, experience donations. There are table sponsorships. There are also partner level sponsorships there as well. And of course, that is one volunteer opportunity that we have. We do have some folks that would rather not go into a classroom for whatever reason, and certainly Hall of Fame is a great option for that. It's a really fun event, and we are always looking for volunteers, and you get to dress up and enjoy the evening with everyone else while you do a little volunteerism for us. So the other way that you can get involved and your organization can get involved is by talking to us about having somebody on the board, advocating for us by sharing our social media post. There are other ways that we would love to have your involvement with the organization. We appreciate your time and all that you're doing for us already. So if there's anything else that we can talk to you about, please don't hesitate to let me know. And so sorry. In addition to supporting students with your investments, we also ensure that educators and volunteers have full support through a variety of turnkey resources, which Alexia will be sharing with you now.
All right, so I am super excited to share with you resources that we have to help you on your coordinator journey. Of course, as a school coordinator, you're managing programs, and as a volunteer coordinator, you are recruiting and managing volunteers, but we do have resources to help you with this. Next slide, please. The first thing that I'd like to share with you are our informational documents. So on the left side of the screen, you see that this is actually new for the school year. We have a sample coordinator overview. So we'll have one of these for school coordinators and then one of these for company/volunteer coordinators. And what this is a document that provides you with a how to do the coordinator position, how to be in that coordinator role, and also tips and tricks for being in that role. On the right-hand side, you see that we have program briefs and program overviews. These are actually documents that describe the program that a volunteer or educator is going to be participating in. So you see those program briefs are just that. They give a colorful, engaging visual, and then a brief description of the lessons that are a part of that program, so volunteers can see at a glance what they're going to be participating in. And then on the right-hand side, the overviews are really designed to meet educators where they are. These are great for helping educators to complete their lesson plans for when the students are participating in JA programs, and they focus on the objectives students will learn as well as the skills that they're going to be developing as a part of participating in that program. Next slide, please. We also have Prepare to Be Awesome guides that JAUSA has provided us with. We have one for both educators and volunteers. And really, these interactive infographics just highlight what volunteers and educators can expect by being part of the JA program. Next slide, please. We also have marketing collateral. We have a plethora of toolkits that JAUSA provides for us. So everything from flyers and really neat graphics. If you are sharing this opportunity with parent volunteers because you're participating in a JA in a day, you can absolutely use one of these flyers. We can edit it, or we can send you an editable version so that way you can share that information with your campus. Same thing for a volunteer coordinator. These flyers are great for helping to spread the word about JA. Maybe you have to share the JA information in a newsletter and you'd like to use some of our graphics. You can see on the left-hand side, we've got our Game Changer Toolkit components. On the right-hand side, we have our Boundless Possibility graphics and components. We also have videos, everything from JAUSA created content to locally created videos that can help you to, again, spread the word at your companies or at your campuses. Next slide, please. We also have a brand new resource website that JAUSA has recently created, and I'm super excited to share that our very own Keisha Bruno, our Vice President of Educational Impact, worked with other JA leaders across the nation to actually develop this resource for both educators and volunteers. So up on the screen, you can see that up on the top left, this is a space where educators and volunteers can access the digital learning experience materials if needed. And then on the right-hand side, there are, again, just descriptions of what to expect. Also, there's training videos, also lots of digital resources for both educators and volunteers. And then we also have videos on how to engage students. So this definitely comes in handy for volunteers. And then we've got a special section of the website that is devoted to DEI resources and really helping our volunteers, teachers, and staff to be champions of DEI. You may know that we are, DEI is a very huge part of what we do here at JA. Here at JA Dallas, we have a whole part of our website that's devoted to DEI information and resources and our pledge to the students that we serve. We also have a pledge that we encourage our board members, our staff, and our participating volunteers to complete, because it's very important to us that we do provide an equitable experience for all JA students that are participating. So this part of the website is going to be a really great resource for our educators and especially our volunteers when they're going into the JA classroom and understanding how to engage all kinds of students. All right, next slide, please. All right, so we have shared a lot of information over the first part of our webinar. And so we'd love to give you an opportunity to ask any questions that you may have. So please feel free to use the Q&A feature to plug in any questions that you have. Jordan and I will be reviewing that to make sure that we don't miss anyone's questions. So I will open it up for Q&A. If you are a coordinator and you've got a question for us, please plug that into the Q&A. All right. So far, I'm not seeing any questions in the Q&A. If you do have a question, that button is located right down at the bottom of your control panel. Oh, yes. Okay. So Adrian has asked, what is the first step in requesting for our students to participate in BizTown? I believe that there is a program request form that we have on Sign Up Genius. Keisha, can you add in any other detail that I might be missing?
Sorry, Alexia, what'd you say?
Oh, yes. Adrian is asking, what is the first step in requesting for students to participate in BizTown? I believe we have a Sign Up Genius for a program request form for BizTown. Is that right?
Yes, we do. So we have a Sign Up Genius that we can send out to you. There's also an interest form on the website, but we will be doing, for everyone that is here today, we'll be doing some spot checking, and you guys will get an email with all of the links to everything. So that is the first step. You could also reach out to me directly, and you'll have all of our contact information at the end of this webinar. You can reach out to me directly, and I'm happy to get you signed up and going. We are completely booked through the fall and maybe the first few weeks of January, but we do have some February dates available, and I believe some April and May dates available.
Okay, thank you, Keisha. And then I think you can take the next question as well. Thank you so much, Aisha, for the praise. We do appreciate it. She said, great job. One quick question. She thought there was a BizTown opening up in Kaufman County, which there is. That's our Crandall location. Do we have a date on when that location will open?
Okay, somebody is on the secret track. That one we were keeping that a little bit under wraps, but that's okay. That's okay. Somebody's plugged in. So but yes, we are in the process of opening a J BizTown. It's going to be at in Crandall, Texas, and we are fully ready and intended to serve Kaufman County. That facility will open on February 1st, and we are ready to start booking dates there. We have probably about 5 or 6 schools already scheduled. So if you are interested or you know someone out of the community, we're anxious to get started. We have a small task force that we put together. So yes, it's opening April 1st. How do you get connected there? You're in the right place. Start with me. So just shoot me an email when you get all of our contact information, and we'll be ready to get you set and going. The first groups that come through this spring are our groundbreaking schools, and so we're really looking forward to getting that facility going. So absolutely reach out to me.
All right, those are some fantastic questions. Lots of exciting things happening here at JA Dallas. I just wanted to check in to see if we have any other questions before I turn it over to Caroline, who is going to be leading our panel. Okay, everyone, this is the moment that we have all been waiting for. So Caroline, our Senior Education Manager, is going to be facilitating our first ever live panel discussion with 3 wonderful JA coordinators. Caroline, I'll let you take it away.
Thank you so very much. And yes, we do have 3 fantastic, either an educator and company coordinators. So as JA coordinators, we want all of you to be successful in your journeys. So joining me today are 3 panelists who are experienced in coordinating our programs. They'll be discussing everything from how to engage volunteers or to make sure we get your teacher information so that we'll have accurate programming. So joining us today, we have Lauren Windsor at Populous Financial. She has been a company coordinator for us for 5 years now. We also have Tanya Dorsey-Dews. She is at Dr. Frederick Todd Senior Middle School. She is our educator on the call today. And she has spent several years coordinating JA programs at her campus. So I believe this is her 4th year now. And we also have Adrian Villegas. He's the counselor at George Truett Elementary, and they implement JA in a day on their campus. So panelists, please turn your cameras on at this time. And let's get started. So as the panel is sharing information, we're going to ask you to please feel free to add questions in the Q&A button, and we'll be sure to address those at the end of the panel discussion. Before I start asking questions, could each one of you just unmute your line and say hello to everyone?
Hey, everyone.
Hello.
Good afternoon.
Thank you. Thank you so very much. And thank you all for joining us. So I'm going to just start by asking individual questions. We'll start with the educator, and then Lauren, I'll jump over to you. Mr. Villegas, let me ask you, you all have participated in JA in a Day for several years now. What is your strategy for getting your administrator on board and also your staff buy-in? Because I know this takes time out of their day of classroom instruction time?
Yes, thank you, Caroline. I've been with JA not only at my current school, but other schools. And the way that we do the buy-in is promote it first thing at the beginning of the year. As soon as they give me an opportunity to talk to the faculty and staff about what counselors do, which is usually on our first PD couple of days or first week of school before the students even arrive. I make sure that the JA in a day is already on the yearly calendar, and then go ahead and tell the faculty and staff when that day is, and everybody has access to that day and calendar. And they just know that, if there's someone that has experienced JA in a day before, they already know, and I just review and explain to them that it will happen again on that date, and that it's a set date for them not to schedule anything else on that date. And then for our new teachers or faculty members that are not familiar with it, I encourage I explain and do like a brief presentation about what it is and ensure that they are looking forward to that date. And I also let the grade level chairs know to make sure and work with our teachers to make sure that, they remind them, when they meet and they're planning things, like a fair or any type of event that day needs to stay clear of any major events.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Ms. Dorsey Dews, I want to ask you that same question. What is your strategy for getting your administration on board and the teacher buy-in?
Going back to our first year with junior achievement, my focus was to bring in different programs that would highlight diversity amongst our students, because many of our students come from socially and economically diverse homes. So the thing was to put emphasis on showcasing to the students that there is life outside of their community and opportunities for them. So I went to my principal and say, hey, this is junior achievement, and explain what it is, because a lot of people didn't really know what junior achievement was. So I went, sat down with the principal, explained to him what junior achievement was about the volunteers and the background of some of the volunteers, and how allowing the students to connect with the diversity of the volunteers and how it will be beneficial to them and valuing education.
Thank you so much for that. And now I'm going to pull in Lauren, because both of them have focused on, the educators, and the volunteers is a key component to coming into the classroom. What is your strategy for recruiting volunteers?
Yeah, so to recruit volunteers, first I start out by getting the information from Caroline. I create a flyer. Usually we have a group photo on there. We'll have a couple of training dates. That's always important because, some people, they could do one day, but they can't do the other. They also get lunch provided. They get a t-shirt. And I know like the kids can seem, a little overwhelming, but it's nice because whenever we get together, we kind of share stories of, people that have volunteered in the past, and that makes them feel a little bit more comfortable. Also, the fact that they're going to have a partner in the classroom with them, that helps. But we do also have like a leadership call. And so Melissa, who sits on the board of JA, she'll mention to the executives, hey, we have JA coming up. We really need volunteers. This is what it's about. And then we kind of recruit volunteers that way as well. They'll resort to department heads, and then they'll refer to their people and try to get, people to sign up. Also, it's all about repetition. Some of us, we get like hundreds of emails a day. Sometimes they'll miss my email. So I'll say, hey, I need like X amount of volunteers still. And just like keep pushing that. I also reach out to some past volunteers. I'm like, hey, you volunteered last year. Can you please sign up this time? And just, anything we can do to get as many volunteers. It's also good to get more volunteers than you need because, during fall months, you have people that have kids that get sick or employees that get sick. So it's always nice to have, some backups in place as well.
Thank you for sharing that about the backups. So that could go across the board with any program that we offer. Just over recruit to allow for that attrition. Thank you for answering that. So I'm going to come back to you, Mr. Villegas. How have you seen JA impact the students' lives?
Yes, so I been especially with this campus I'm at now, it's my 4th year here. So it is nice to see that the year after that we have JA in a day, the students remember what it is, and the teachers reference a lot of what we don't do JA in a day at our school until like usually April. So a lot of what is covered, obviously it's fresh in their minds right after, but I think it's until the next spring, until the next fall that teachers, get to reference it in different lessons that they do. But mostly when we're nearing the date all over again, and even it doesn't have to be that close. Like we often, remind students, for that, we have that event to look forward to, and they usually remember what the event is. And I don't want to say that we use it as an incentive, but it is a motivational incentive. We would never keep anyone from it, but we remind them, we want you to be on your best behavior. We want you to have good grades so that you can participate in this event that is coming up. So we just keep it alive throughout the year by mentioning it that it's building up to the event, kind of like building it up to a career day or a field day.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Ms. Dorsey Deuce, I kind of want to ask you that same question. And you mentioned about the community that is surrounded with your students. You want to talk about that, how we impact those students' lives?
We just finished our J in a Day about 2 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
And so the impact was tremendous. You had the students talking about it and how they were interested in finding out what some of the job careers paths that some of our volunteers have. I think it's very important because of the economically diversity of my community, the 75216 area, where many of our students come from below or at poverty level households. So to expose them to people that have various career backgrounds provides some hope. And the fact that the volunteers are open to share some of their life with them. One volunteer was, I've shared with the students that he grew up in a area that was similar to this one. So once he opened up and told part of his life, he had the students wrapped around his finger. That was one room where everybody was attentive, and as a school teacher, you don't find that too often. But the fact that he shared himself and was open to asking, allowing the students to ask questions and things like that was just it was just heart touching. And it gave, the overall impact what I get from Junior Achievement and being so adamant about we having Junior Achievement Day is to give our students exposure. And the fact that our students can see that, hey, here's someone that looked like me who come from the same background of which I'm in, and they've made it. And the fact that it was their education that helped them get to that point is definitely one of the reasons why I pushed Junior Achievement and have pushed it for 4 years, because allowing students to see some of that transition, some of the academic issues that schools have, some of the attendance issues that schools have, because the focus is getting your education to be able to be in a position such as our volunteers.
Thank you so much for sharing that. So you all can see how important it is to have JA volunteers, diverse JA volunteers to go into the classroom and be relatable to the students. Share, we provide the curriculum, as I mentioned earlier, but we want you to put your personality into it. So Lauren, you all just recently had your event as well. I want to ask you, you mentioned you have a JA board representative, and how has that helped you to recruit volunteers?
It helps a lot because they're able to share their experience. We had a previous J board person, another one as well. So we actually have two. So that really helps me because they both speak about their experience in these executive meetings. And they're able to, just share, what works for them, what didn't work for them, and to get people out of their comfort zone. Like I said previously, you get the kids and you're like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I can do this. And then you just remind them, hey, this material is well thought out. You don't have to put anything into it. You just, go off of the lesson plans that JA provides. And the kids are just so excited to see our volunteers there. I think people get too much in their heads. So whenever, we talk about our experiences, they're like, okay, I feel a little bit more comfortable in signing up to volunteer. And so really sharing those experiences helps.
Okay. So this is a question for all three of you. You have the same question. How do you recognize volunteers? How do you thank them?
I can go first. So we thank our volunteers by email. I send it out to all of the executives. We have a group photo that we take, and I also go into everybody's classroom. I take photos of everyone, and I share those photos with them, and they're able to share that with their team, and just do a big thank you. Like this couldn't be possible without y'all's time.
Thank you.
I also do emails, share videos pictures from throughout the day. If I'm fortunate to have a budget, we try to provide a little continental breakfast for them, and just set up refreshments and things for them throughout the day. At the end of the day, the principal and different staff members come in and talk about our school and also say thank you.
Thank you.
At our school, and I'm sorry if you can hear the announcements from the principal for the end of the day, but at our school, we usually try encourage the teachers to let us know ahead of time. And me and the other counselors who are coordinating the event, we let them know, hey, what are you planning to do for your 2 or 3 volunteers that will be in your classroom? And we kind of ask them ahead of time if they're going to be taking a group picture, or if they got them, like if they're going to have the kids write thank you letters and send them to them at another time, or give them to them that day. Maybe they can write them while the volunteers are having lunch. And then if any teachers are lacking in ideas or need suggestions, then we help them come up with something on how they're going to thank their volunteers.
And I have to say the thank you letters and posters are a killer. Like all of our volunteers love that. They actually take them with them and they hang them in their offices. So when people come by, they can see all the little signatures and the artwork that they get from the students. So that's really helped a lot.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
For Mr. Villegas, I think that Truett Elementary is probably the largest elementary school as far as student number in Dallas. To the point where the company that goes there easily has about 80 to 85 volunteers there all in one day. So
yeah, we're huge. We have about 960 kids right now, which is about let me see, like about 50 classrooms.
Yes, so you are one of my largest that I work with. So this is a question for everyone, and just jump in wherever you feel the need. I would like for you just to take your time, think about this. We have about 10 minutes left. Share one of your most memorable classroom JA volunteer experiences with your students.
Go. So for me, I get the pleasure of going into all the classrooms. And this past JA in a day, something that the volunteers did was they did interview tips, and they, taught the students how to do a handshake, and they really enjoyed that. You get everybody up and you line them up and you're like, okay, good eye contact, firm handshake. And the students really enjoyed that. And also another thing was, that we mentioned was the thank you notes. I talked to every single volunteer, and I had a lot of new volunteers, and that was something that they were like, I'm definitely going to do JA in a day again because of the experience that they had.
And thank you for sharing that, because just having the volunteers they follow the curriculum, make sure the students grab the concepts, but then kind of, maybe add a little bit more to it. Especially where you see that need to do something a little different. So we appreciate that. Ms. Dorsey Dews, how about you?
I think my most memorable was your first year here, and I was in the classroom then, and I had I think it was the two gentlemen from CC's Pizza. So the students immediately recognized the restaurant. And so just the connection between the volunteers and the students, and they really didn't want them to leave because they kept asking questions and stuff. And it was like the volunteers were able to be flexible from the curriculum and talking to the students. They would start doing the curriculum and the student would pull, questions in about the business, their business, and the volunteers were so, I think they enjoyed it just as much as the kids did. So that was just the highlight of my day, the how the volunteers and the students gelled together, and it was like they were teachers, and they were able. I mean, they were just getting out. I could step out the door, and everything was, good. I was like, is this still my class? And so it was just amazing to see the connection of the volunteers. And I'm not quite sure, when you're going into any situation of the unknown, you have, you're nervous. But by this being the campus's fourth year, when the volunteers come in, and especially the faces that we've seen before, it's like a old family reunion where you see people, and even with the new volunteers coming in, just the greeting, I think, takes the nervousness away. And it's just a event. The more I think about it, it's not just one particular situation, with junior achievement. It's just the nervousness, and sometimes it's not even just the nervousness of the volunteers or the students. We're a 6 through 8 campus. So for some of our sixth graders, they don't know what Junior Achievement Day is. And so when the volunteers come in and they start talking to them, and they passed out candy, and it was like, candy is no, but especially in the morning time, we have to wait to dismissal and share candy. But just, that gets their attention. They're excited, and once they get their attention, they're hooked. So it's just a number. More and more I think about it, it's just hard just to pinpoint one
Sure.
particular situation.
Thank you. I understand. Mr. Villegas, I know that you have hall duty or something because school is getting ready to be out. So if you don't mind commenting, and I know you'll have to jump off.
Yes, thank you for that. I do have to go help in the carpool, but my experience is very similar to Ms. Dorsey Deuce, that it's not one particular experience, but it is that it's actually the same as hers, is seeing the volunteers at the beginning of the day when they're in the library and we're about to escort them to the classroom, and they're so quiet and so nervous, and then seeing them in the hallway throughout the day and how they loosened up and saw that how fun it is, and that it's not scary, that it's actually fun. And a lot of them are like, I hadn't been in an elementary school since I was in elementary school. This is bringing back so many memories. And they just love it so much by the end of the day. And some of them don't want to leave, and their lesson's over, and they keep talking to the kids and playing with them. And it's just, I think our kids are a little different from the middle school kids, as in they're energized and excited and not shy at the beginning of the day and at the end of the day. So I don't see that a lot with the kids, but I see it with the volunteers. So it's just amazing to see that change in them.
Thank you all. Thank you all so much for taking your time, and really just your input that you've shared with us today is greatly appreciated. And I'm just going to open the floor if there's any questions. If you can type them in the chat, I'm not able to see it. So if you all have any questions, those of you that have joined the call, please put those in there now.
And I'm going to head out. Thank you. See you later.
Thank you so
everybody.
much for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Miss
Jordan, I'm
Caroline.
not able to see any questions that's coming across on the chat.
We don't have any questions right now, but if any come up, I will let you know.
Okay. All right.
One of the things I wanted to also share was that the Junior Achievement JA in a Day also presented opportunity for the volunteers to come back and do our career day and talk to the students. So it's just establishing, I think our theme this year is connecting the dots, and JA is helping our campus connect the dots with the community by bringing in volunteers to assist with that.
Thank you. And we appreciate it. We appreciate it. That's the idea of, connecting volunteers, making that partnership, just continue to go on outside of doing the JA program. So that's good. All right. Well, thank you all. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to our president, Mr. Keith Benson.
Well, hello, everyone. Man, great learning. I appreciate just all the details there. Appreciate opportunities that you all give the young people to be exposed to the many great opportunities that JA has to offer. When I thought about coming into this role here, I thought about all the different experiences that young people get in order to achieve for their future, and the impact that you as volunteers give, you as staff give to the young people will take them a long ways. At 775-216, very familiar with the area there. I've been working in that area for the last 14 years, but excited to be a part of Junior Achievement and the great things that we will do. Well, one of the things we do want to do is get feedback, and so I'm gonna put into the chat a link. And okay, somebody got that for me. Thank you. If you guys could give us some feedback, we'd like to know how this went for you all. If we need some more information to be able to help with the details of being able to coordinate these programs, we can do that. But please take a time to complete that survey there. And then I'm also gonna put in another link in the chat for volunteer opportunities. One of the things I've shared with staff thus far is what we want to do is create greater engagement for volunteers. We have a lot of great volunteers now, but in order for us to reach more kids, we need volunteers. And so if you can help us by spreading the word, by help getting more people to volunteer, that would help us out immensely to order for us to achieve our various goals. So thank you guys for being on the call today. And then I am going to release it back to our team.
Hi, everyone. Just wanted to thank you again for being here today and participating in our virtual coordinator summit. As you can see up on the screen, we do have some next steps for you. So just as Keith said, please be sure to complete that survey. Please be sure to take a look at our volunteer opportunities, and please spread the word about those. We have volunteer opportunities for everything, for every kind of volunteer. It's all out there. Following the webinar, we will be sure to send everyone a recording of the webinar so you have that for your resources. And then also please be on the lookout for an email with coordinator resources for you. If you have any further questions, please feel free to reach out to your JA representative. If you don't have a JA representative yet, please just reach out to us and we will make sure that we get you in touch with the right person. Again, thank you so very much for the work that you do, for your support of junior achievement. Again, it really takes a village. We're all working together to really build these thriving communities for our students and to really help them achieve their boundless potential. So thank you again so much for attending today, and we will see you soon.